So you're upgrading your setup and you have narrowed it down to the Kreo Obsidian lineup. So here's the question. Do you go for the 27i 200Q or do you go for the brand new 27i 100Q? Both are 27-inch in size and 1440p IPS monitors. Both are factory calibrated, but they're just around 2,000 rupees apart. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down every feature and Sunny is going to be telling you about why we build them differently. Let's start with what they share. So as I already told you, both are 27-inch 1440p IPS monitors. So that means these monitors come with a pixel density of 109 pixels per inch, which is 77% more pixels than a standard 1080p monitor. This means sharp text, no awkward scaling, and enough screen real estate to run full browser windows side by side without any problems. Even the controls are mostly similar. Both of the monitors come with 5-way joystick for OSD control, 3.5mm headphone audio jack, and a 100x100 VESA mount for easy mounting options. Now these were the similarities between the two monitors. I'm going to be telling you about the differences now.
So when you open up the box for the 27i 200Q, you will get your user manual, you will get your main stand, height adjustable stand, the power cable, one HDMI cable, one DisplayPort cable, and your main display. So one of the first things you will notice is the stand. So in our first batch, we got some complaints, we got some feedback about the stand of the monitor, and we thought yes, we should address it. For this batch of the 27i 200Q, we upgraded the stand. It's a flatter stand now. It takes up less space, has less wobble, and is also more sturdier, I would say. And it also moves less. Like there are better rubber pads underneath the stand, so it moves less. And moving to the main design of the monitor, it's still the same. It's still a very high quality matte finish on the monitor. We still have some purple accents. We still have our OSD joystick, and we still have our very functional I/O here. You get 2 display ports, you get 2 HDMI ports, 1 headphone jack, and 1 USB as well.
So if your main goal is to dominate the leaderboards, this is the monitor for you. The Kreo Obsidian 27i 200Q is our current flagship monitor, and it is specifically designed for competitive gaming. It comes with 200Hz of refresh rate, 1 millisecond response time with overdrive, which means motion blur and ghosting are kept to a minimum. It comes with many gaming specific features like crosshair overlays, pre-built presets for game scenarios, and even a black equalizer, which work in every game and don't require any software. This monitor is also fully compatible with FreeSync and G-Sync. So it doesn't matter if you are using an AMD system or an NVIDIA system, it'll work no matter what. And not just gaming, the 27i 200Q is also an excellent productivity monitor. It can reach up to 400 nits of peak brightness, has support for 10-bit colors. The panel has a color volume of 130% sRGB, 95% AdobeRGB, and 97% DCI-P3. So the monitor is factory calibrated to 100% sRGB with a delta E value of less than 2. So that means professional color grading is now super easy. For connectivity, you get 2 HDMI ports, 2 display ports, and 1 audio jack.
So one of the highlight features of this monitor is its 200Hz refresh rate, and when compared to a normal 60Hz monitor, it's almost 233% faster in terms of pure refresh rate. And when it comes to frame time, you are still getting almost 11 millisecond faster frame time refreshes. So if you are a gamer, you can understand how important every millisecond is. Competitive gamers are investing so much money in high-speed peripherals just to gain like a 0.1 millisecond of advantage. So a monitor is one of the most important areas where you can reduce the input lag, help your response time. So even a jump of 5 milliseconds when compared to a 100Hz monitor is very big for this 200Q. Apart from the refresh rate, there's also a thing called perceived motion blur, and that's one of the biggest difference when it comes to a slower and office-based monitor and a proper gaming monitor. For example, this monitor has a better perceived motion blur performance. Basically, you get less motion blur in your moving subjects, and this is applicable even for 100Hz. For example, the game is running at 100Hz. You will get better motion clarity on this monitor compared to a slower 100Hz monitor, and this is a direct advantage of the panel used here. So we are using a very high-end fast IPS panel, and that means it can deliver a lower response time number, lower input lag number, which directly results in a better motion clarity. You also get esports specific features, for example NPRT, which is a backlight strobing mode. You can custom define the overdrive mode of this monitor. So these advanced options allow the user to fine tune their settings. You can compromise, you can balance out between picture quality and responsive performance. So this was all about the gaming performance of this Obsidian. Now talking about the other side, the colorful side, and I am talking about the color performance of this monitor. So when it comes to color or the color performance of a monitor, few things are very important. One of them is brightness. The the other is contrast ratio, the other one is the color accuracy, and the last one is also about, is the color accurate enough? Is the monitor color calibrated out of the factory? So talking about the first point, which is brightness, this monitor can actually reach brightness level of 400 nits, and certain units can actually go over 400 nits, because again, with monitors, it's always a panel lottery. Some panels will always reach higher spec than advertised. So some of you lucky guys will get a panel which can go over 400 nits. In this price segment, not many monitors can reach actual 400 nits. Most of the monitors are capped at 300 to 450 nits. Now, why 400 nits is important is because you can technically use advanced features like backlight strobing and still get a lot of brightness for your room gameplay, right? Most of the monitors in the market which have these advanced features, they have such low brightness panels that when you turn on those features, the brightness goes so low that you can't even see anything. So because of this high brightness, you can take advantage of those features without any issues. Secondly, you can actually control the level of brightness for these modes, which is not available in most of the monitors in this price segment. And third, more brightness is always better for a brighter room. If you are using your monitor just beside a window or in a bright room, it will always look better, feel better. So this panel can reach a contrast ratio of 1200:1, which is very good for an IPS panel. What that means is you get deeper blacks, you get better grays, you also get better whites. So the overall image looks sharper, it looks more contrasty, and it also looks more colorful, provided you have a good image. Now this 27i200Q also uses a very vibrant panel. What that means is that the color volume of this panel is very high. It can reach upwards of 130% of sRGB, and it can also achieve a DCI-P3 coverage of almost 97%. What that means is that you can crank up the saturation and will still not break the colors of this monitor. Your colors will look saturated, you will get a very dynamic image, very vivid image, but the colors will still hold up the value. So that is something which is useful for people who want to do maybe color grading or just want a very vibrant display for gaming, because in certain games like Overwatch or maybe Marvel Rivals or maybe even Apex Legends, colorful display, a vibrant saturated display can actually give you some advantage in certain maps. So this is something you can do with this monitor. Apart from color volume, it's also important that the monitor can support or limit itself when required. For example, this monitor comes factory calibrated for sRGB coverage, and if you don't know, sRGB is the most standard color gamut for the web. So every content that you see on the internet, for example your YouTube, your maybe just your ChatGPT or maybe your Google or anything that you see is usually calibrated for sRGB. Even your Windows or Mac OS is also calibrated for sRGB, and this monitor comes factory calibrated to 100% sRGB out of the box. You just have to select the sRGB mode. Your colors will look less saturated compared to a normal standard mode, but those will be more accurate, and if you're doing anything related to photo or video color grading, you will like this panel. Now this factory calibration is a very specific process, and not many monitors offer this even at a slightly higher price point. And the Obsidian 27i200Q is one of the few models that actually comes factory calibrated, and we use very specialized equipment in the factory, and it also goes through a multiple QC process so that every monitor comes factory calibrated. And this also applies to a 100Hz monitor, but because of the better color accuracy, better color coverage of the 200Hz monitor, you will actually still get better delta E values on this particular model.
So here was the Kreo Obsidian 27i200Q, 200Hz, 1 millisecond of response time, 1440p resolution, a color calibrated IPS panel, all of this under 16,000 rupees. Now, if you spend your days coding, editing photos, designing, or working through endless spreadsheets, this is where things get really interesting. Presenting the Kreo Obsidian 27i100Q. Same 27-inch 1440p IPS panel, but almost 2,000 rupees lesser.
So when you open the box for the 27i100Q, you will get your basic manual, you will get your HDMI cable, you will get your height adjustable stand and the monitor itself. Now the one difference between the 100Hz and the 200Hz is that you are not getting a DisplayPort cable within the box for the 100Hz monitor, because technically the HDMI cable is capable of delivering 2K 100Hz without any issues from any device. As for the build quality, most of the things are similar. Both of the monitors are using the same stand, which makes it very easy to snap in or snap out. Also, both the monitors are using the 100x100 VESA mount design, so you can easily wall mount it wherever required. As for the design of this monitor, it comes with a very sleek, simple, minimal design that fits any home setup as well as your office setup. In terms of adjustment, this supports all kinds of adjustment. You have your normal pivot option so that you can use it on a vertical monitor setup. You also get your height adjustment and as well as tilt adjustment. In terms of connectivity, there are 2 HDMI ports, and you also get your DisplayPort for your main PC. So there's also a headphone jack output, so you can use your external speakers or your headphones directly with the monitor.
So 100 Hz of refresh rate, 4 millisecond of response time, which is 66% smoother scrolling than a standard 60 Hz monitor. So every long document, every line of code, every spreadsheet scrolls cleanly. But the real story here is the contrast and the color. 1300 to 1 contrast ratio, that's above what a typical IPS panel delivers. This means deeper blacks, more shadow detail in photos, and also dark game environments that genuinely look dark instead of grey. And for the programmers, dark theme IDEs where the background is actually black and not washed out. It is perfect for web design, photo editing, color grading, or anywhere where color accuracy is crucial. It can reach up to 300 nits of peak brightness, which is ideal for office environments and indoor work. It also comes with flicker-free technology, and medical research has shown that flicker-free technology can reduce eye strain by up to 30% compared to a standard display. And for the people who are working almost 10 hours a day, why? But it also matters a lot.
So an interesting specification that is actually better on this monitor is the contrast ratio. Now this monitor has a better contrast ratio than the 200Q model, and the reason for that is that a slower monitor can have better contrast ratio because the pixels themselves are slower, and that's why they can achieve a better black level, because the pixels don't have to move that fast, so they can block the light a little more, and that's why you can have better contrast ratio. So it's always a game of balance. So on a faster monitor, if you can technically reduce the contrast ratio, you can reduce the color fidelity, you can make the panel even faster, unless it's like an OLED or something which runs on a completely different technology. But for most LCD panels or VA panels, you can actually get better results, better black levels just by slowing the pixels down. So that's why if you are looking for multimedia experience, for example, if you want to watch a lot of movies, a lot of Netflix, or maybe just want to enjoy a lot of good videos, editing and all, the 100 Hz monitor will actually perform better in certain scenarios. Now this monitor does not have the high fidelity, high color volume panel that the 200Q uses. So that means if you are actually planning to use your monitor for high-end color grading or high-end, let's say, HDR productions, 200Q will be better suited for you.
So now that you know about the 200Q as well as the 100Q, let's come down to the decision. Which one is for you? If you need the speed of the 200 Hz refresh rate, 10-bit support, advanced gaming tools, a 1 millisecond of response time, and you have a system that can push high frame rates, the Obsidian 27i 200Q is the perfect monitor for you under 16,000 rupees. It is a gaming monster as well as a productivity monster. On the other hand, if you want a color accurate 100 Hz display and ample connectivity and a flicker-free display, the Obsidian 27i 100Q gives you more for less, and it is also priced under 14,000 rupees. So 2 Kreo monitors but made for very different users. But our commitment to deliver you the best remains the same. So what do you think about these Obsidian monitors? Tell me in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.